In this last video, we looked at the effects of ocean acidification on coral reef ecosystems. Today we will go over how ocean acidification affects humans and what we can do to help out with the problem. When looking at how ocean acidification is detrimental to human health, we see that many different factors come into play. We look at the ocean for many different resources. Some of these resources are food, recreation, transport, and even medicines. One of the main factors that affect our population is that many people eat seafood. Many of the shellfish that we eat are being negatively affected by the ocean acidification in the sense that they are not able to build a sturdy shell. We will have seen the impact hard in the Pacific Northwest, where the oyster hatcheries have seen a rapid decline in production of oysters, larvae, and survival rate of the oysters. Sea snails are not relative to humans, but are a major food source for fish and are important for the survival of the species.
The coral reef serves many purposes. Without the coral reef and the impact of ocean acidification, we see it affects the biodiversity, fisheries, medicine, and even tourism. The total biodiversity of global coral reef ecosystems is valued at $3.3 billion of the annually. Life without coral reefs would be detrimental to fisheries. Furthermore, the fish that grow and live on coral reefs are major food sources for over a billion people worldwide, and 85% of those billion people rely on fish as a major protein source. When coral reefs are managed properly, we can harvest about 15 tons of fish and other seafood per square kilometer every year. Many of the fish we find in coral reefs produce chemical compounds that help find new cures to diseases. Many of the medicine we have today had come from terrestrial plants, animals, and microorganisms. Some of the medicines that are being researched have shown to help with easing labor, treat cancer, arthritis, asthma, and heart disease. Another important factor on saving coral reefs is that of tourism and recreation. For example, reef-related recreation accounts for about $364 million of added value to Hawaii's economy each year. Many of the Caribbean countries get half of their gross domestic product from the tourism industry. So we see that coral reefs are an important thing to preserve to help benefit humans in the future.
But there are ways we can make a difference. 28% of CO2 emissions in the U.S. comes from transportation, so there's a lot of room for improvement. One way to lessen CO2 emissions is to use different transportation methods like biking, mass transport, or carpooling. Hybrid and electric vehicles can also effectively cut emissions. Using hybrid vehicles can also save you about $3,000 a year on gasoline. Proper vehicle maintenance can also reduce CO2 emissions. Things like inflating your tires can cut down fuel costs by about 2%, which contributes to decreasing CO2. 32% of United States CO2 emissions comes from the production of electricity, so reducing our electricity consumption is key to stopping ocean acidification. Things like changing to LED bulbs and using hot water more efficiently can save great amounts of electricity. Solar panels are an amazing way of generating clean energy, and with their price falling so quickly, they could soon become a real option in many houses in America. Since most of our electricity comes from burning of fossil fuels, it is imperative that we support renewable energy whenever possible. If people started to eat less red meat and more chicken, we could decrease emissions by 20 pounds of CO2 per year. We could reduce our emissions even more if we ate blue, which means eating more fish from the ocean. Ocean acidification is a big problem to tackle, but if we all put in effort, we can make a difference.